there were definitely issues there as well. But that's besides the point. We're not getting into that kind of stuff at all. None of this justifies intervention anyway, right? But in so many of these circumstances, are you seriously still trying to say Chavez made things better for Venezuela? Yes, I am saying that. I will forever say that. That is objectively the truth. Constantly awaiting what his next take is going to be. This guy moves the world, okay? He shocks the world every time he comes out with statements. Anyway, let's hear what the position is on not just Venezuela, because like this obviously has reverberations. This obviously has like impact on everything else. And one of the things that Trump has said is that he's going to do this to Cuba next. He might even do this to Mexico. He might do this to Colombia. But also, he's going to take Greenland. Let's take a look at how the Europeans are talking about Donald Trump eventually overtaking Greenland.
But allies matter. Allies influence, they pressure. I mean, let's look at Greenland, for example, right? We've had the Danish Prime Minister calling on the United States to stop the threats against a historically close ally and against another country and another people who have very clearly said they are not for sale. If Donald Trump's moves against Greenland or against, Denmark, is that a different matter? Will the UK government condemn that?
First, it'll be really clear that allies do matter, which is why these careful diplomatic conversations behind the scenes are ongoing with the United States and with our European allies and Five Eyes partners. And we're not going to give a running commentary.
But what about Greenland?
When it comes to Greenland, Denmark and the United States, these are both NATO members. And I'm really proud that NATO has used discussion over division to ensure that these problems in the past
Can you at least just say Donald Trump should not, do the same in Greenland?
What I can say really clearly is I can't see this being any different to any previous conversations that need to be had between NATO members. And
I find it extraordinary that you can't just say flat out that Donald Trump needs to.
And I think the Venezuelan issue
intervene on Greenland.
The Venezuelan issue
I find that extraordinary.
is obviously different to.
Dude. I mean, if this was my job, I'd have a little bit of shame. Like, if my job was to sit there and just eat America's dick as America literally puts his dick balls all over the table, like, I at some point I'd be like, this is too much. I can't do this. I can't stand doing this. What the f is my life? Like, you have no dignity, man. You have no honor. You have no care or consideration for your fellow man. It's incredible. Because, like, with Greenland, at least, like, white supremacy is still a very big motivating force in this calculation, right? Like, Venezuelans are brown. They're far away. Who cares, right? Gazans are brown. Israel is our ally. Who cares, right? But Greenland, now, of course, there's indigenous people in Greenland, but like, it's still under the white periphery. This is the difference between its colonial conquest, or even Germany and its African colonial initiatives, versus colonizing and wholesale slaughtering white people, right? This was literally what caused people to go, hold on, Hitler. We were with you, right? But this is a bridge too far. What the fuck are you doing? You're taking over other white countries. You can't be doing that. We have this established thing. Like, what's going on? And Donald Trump is literally doing the Adolf Hitler play of being like, no, I'm going to take all the white countries too. Nothing you can do about it. This is unironically the real appeasement. I know everybody goes like, oh, well, Adolf Hitler, you're doing appeasement against Adolf Hitler. Like, this is appeasement.
The Greenland issue, but that's for them to have those discussions. It's for NATO to have that solid anchor to ensure that there is no division here.
So you don't have an opinion on whether or not Donald Trump should go into Greenland?
Well, look, this isn't for me to sit here and talk about hypotheticals. We could go on forever.
This
like
is
that.
The Danish Prime Minister.
Dog, that's not a hypothetical. That's not. You might think that that's a hypothetical. That is not a hypothetical. That's what Trump is saying. Okay.
Minister is talking about this. She's asked the US to step the threats. This is not a hypothetical.
And that's why it's really important that allies stand firm and ensure that discussions. And that's because we're not giving a running commentary on that. There'll be more in the House today.
Come on, guys. We're different than Venezuela. Greenland's prime minister We are not in the situation where we're thinking that a takeover of the country might happen overnight. Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen said at a press conference in the capital, Nuuk, speaking via a translator, you cannot compare Greenland to Venezuela. We are a democratic country. You know what? You know what? When I hear stuff like that, I think to myself, bet. Okay? Bet. You kind of deserve it. Okay? I'm sorry. You kind of deserve it because you normalized this. You normalized the previous instance. And now it's going to happen to you. And guess what? You do actually deserve it. You're asking. I'm sorry. What the is this argument? What the is this argument? I mean, look, if the game is so disgusting and if all of the other players are basically saying like, nah, it won't happen to us over and over again, as the domineering force is saying, no, it will happen to you. I mean, you might as well be begging for it, you know? You're just looking unconquered. Just looking sexy out there, you know? Unconquered. What are we doing? He's literally shown if he wants, he could take it. The EU doesn't even fight their own battles when they can travel across land. They can travel across land to Ukraine no way. Their no Navy having asses will cross the Atlantic and be able to hold and invade Greenland too. Yeah, no, it's just not. Like, this kind of stuff is not supposed to happen with war, okay? Obviously, NATO is not going to disband so they can go and fight and defend Ukraine. Just like NATO is not going to disband to go and fight America. That's even dumber, right? These are both nuclear powers. One is Russia, a nuclear superpower, or a nuclear global power, and America, the nuclear superpower, right? The point is, you're supposed to apply diplomatic pressure, but they've completely given up on that. You're supposed to apply economic pressure. You're supposed to make a big fuss about it because this kind of stuff builds up. This kind of tension builds up. This kind of tension is exactly why even Donald Trump, at the end of the day, had to tell Israel, all right, we got to dial back this side a little bit because, you know, you're actually in the bag up for yourself. So the faster countries recognize that, and the faster they actually use any opportunity to make a big fuss and to try and actively entertain cutting ties with America in a meaningful fashion for one reason or the other, the more united the rest of the world is, the more peaceful this pressure campaign will be, and the faster we will depose of this kind of naked imperialist ambition. The problem is they think they'll benefit from it as well, or rather, the international consortium of capital owners are also the same owners of the European countries as well, because they're also liberal capitalist democracies in the same way that they own the United States of America. And therefore, in a way, I'm trying to entertain like the sovereignty argument, or maybe even like the nationalistic arguments as well. I think you're taking the quote out of context. No, the quote is not being taken out of context. He's saying, or she's saying, or he's saying, sorry, that Venezuela is undemocratic, and therefore, like, deposing of the leadership was the appropriate thing to do in that situation, as though democracy has anything to do with this process. They're saying it couldn't happen here, and it's very stupid. Literally, Bjork gave a better statement. Bjork supports independence for Greenland in new post. Colonialism has repeatedly given me horror chills up my back, and the chance that my fellow Greenlanders might go from one cruel colonizer to another is too brutal to imagine. I wish all Greenlanders blessing in their fight for independence. Icelanders are extremely relieved that they managed to break from the Danish in 1944. We didn't choose our language. My children will be speaking Danish now. And I burst with sympathy for Greenlanders repeatedly, especially like when the case came up about the forced contraception where 4,500 girls as young as 12 got IUDs without their knowledge between 1966 and 1970. 4,500 girls as young as 12 were fitted. They are my age and younger, childless. And still today, the Danish are treating Greenlanders like they're second-class humans, removing children from their parents in 2025. Colonialism has repeatedly given me horror chills up my back, and the chance that my fellow Greenlanders might go from one cruel colonizer to another is too brutal to even imagine. Skunni I eldin, we say in Icelandic. Dear Greenlanders, declare independence. Sympathetic wishes from your neighbors. Warmthness, Bjork. Hey, I mean, Europe loves colonialism so much in the global south, they're going to get a chance. Yeah, I mean, hey, maybe that will help them realize what's afoot here, what's happening here.
El precio que tenemos que pagar todos como
Venezuelans is our oil, yes. Well, maybe we'll be much better off this way. You understand? This is a Venezuelan in Uruguay.
Entonces,
So yeah,
ahora sí,
maybe a lot of people are going to die, or maybe not.
Ojalá que no.
I hope not.
Pero es el precio que hay
But
que
it's the price you have to pay.
Y a veces, por favor.
And sometimes she goes, yes, yes, please shut the up. Is this a real? I mean, I have no reason to believe that this is not a real translation, but Spanish speakers, what's going on here?
O no. Ojalá que no. Pero es el precio que hay que pagar. Y a veces, por favor.
Yeah. Are you dying? No. It's an exact translation. A pattern is emerging. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's also this element as well. It's jarring how racially segregated Venezuelan politics are. Seems as though all Gusanos are white Spaniards. But, I mean, there's an element of that, too, even though it's not always the case. But this is something that I always say, look, there's going to be a diversity of opinion in every country. The notion that any country is monolithic in their understanding and their approach to politics is idiotic. And unfortunately for you, in the Western world especially, you rarely ever get to hear from the voiceless, okay? You don't hear from the voiceless. You don't hear from the hungry mouths that are fed. You don't hear from the people who actually improved their lives dramatically under Chavez, right? And there obviously was a major movement that even democratically elected, like with legitimate votes, the likes of Maduro, who is nowhere near as good as Chavez was. Okay. And Chavez had issues too, obviously, in terms of figuring out a real exchange of power, like how this movement would continue. There were definitely issues there as well. But that's besides the point. We're not getting into that kind of stuff at all. None of this justifies intervention anyway. Right. But in so many of these circumstances, are you seriously still trying to say Chavez made things better for Venezuela? Yes, I am saying that. I will forever say that. That is objectively the truth. Okay. That is just the truth. And not only am I saying that, but I'm also on top of that saying that the people that despise it, right? The people, it's so much the truth that now Western media is unironically saying that while simultaneously using that as an effort to shit on Maduro. Like, I'm not alone in saying this. This is objective reality. Oh my God, bro, you know nothing. It's insane. You are so dumb. I know. You guys would be so much better off if only the country was run in the same exact fucking ways that the American government has been run. You're right. You're so right. I wish that you could continue extracting oil for profit for Exxon and Chevron. Fuck all of the people in your country. Fuck the Venezuelan voices that were saying this was awesome, right? The idea that like Chavistas was not a real fucking movement is ridiculous. We're not even talking about Maduro at this point. We're talking about Chavez, okay? About the Chavez thing, bro, you have no idea what the fuck you just stated. No, I do. I do know what the fuck I stated. I do. Venezuela was once the richest countries in the world till socialism took control. I mean, these guys know whose broadcast they're a part of, right? Like, I assume they're coming in here to just say, like, they're saying this just to, like, you guys understand what's going on here, right? Like, this is just anti-communism across the board. It's just a fact. You're right. I think the country remaining illiterate with no rural hospitals, no rural infrastructure whatsoever was actually pretty awesome. You know, this was great. Oh, brother, Chavez was so fucking popular that when America did an initial coup that was like successful for the day, he was so popular that they had to give up on it. Okay. Like they literally had to immediately, they were like Chamber of Commerce, they were trying to fucking disband all of the functions of the government. America automatically goes, we recognize a new government of fucking Venezuela. And the people poured to the streets so aggressively that the CIA, which I would say was much more competent back then, had to give up on that endeavor. Not that they actually fully gave up on it. Give up. Venezuelans will soon learn their lesson. It's a lesson that nearly every Latin American country has learned. Unfortunately, people nowadays seem to be forgetting about it, though. I know. I guess that's what it is. If you don't want U.S. oil companies from the U.S. going in, does that mean you let Russia or China use it? Why give them that power? First of all, I don't even think these guys have an issue with American companies extracting the oil, for the record. It's America that has an issue with American companies extracting the oil until they are desperate for it. And that's precisely the reason why. That's precisely the reason why they let Chevron work in Venezuela. Okay? That's number one. Number two, I don't give a fuck whether it's Russia or China extracting the oil. What I care about is Venezuelans. being able to survive. Venezuela is not suffering. Venezuela is not starving. And there's only one country that has actually done a pretty solid job at ensuring that Venezuelans continue to suffer and starve. And that is the country that carefully excised Venezuela from the global marketplace. And that's the United States of America. Okay? That's it. I can't believe in the last 2 days, Mr. Donald Trump, my people yearn for freedom, has grown in magnitude and frequency. Okay, then why not broker a deal to make them strong? Wait, what do you mean? They were trying to do that. They just didn't want to do it under Maduro. They wanted to do it with their own conditions. They wanted to do it. My assessment on this is that America did not want to broker this deal with Maduro because they don't like the deal that they would get from Maduro. And they probably won't like the deal that they'll get from the current Venezuelan government either, which is precisely the reason why they wanted to threaten the current Venezuelan government, because America is stuck between a rock and a hard place itself in its colonial ambition, right? Because they kind of recognize that in the post-global war on terror world, that this will be perhaps too costly, that might actually spread America's resources too thin in an effort to maintain a colonial occupation in Venezuela. Okay? And that's the reason why they're trying to, that's the reason why Venezuela is not Iraq, brother. Explain to me what this means for the record, because I hear this a lot. And it's this very interesting perspective that I keep hearing. Why? Because, you know, the Iraqis are actually dumb sand people. Is that what it is? And Venezuelans are Catholic? Is that what it is? Because I do feel a lot. I do feel this argument kind of stems from a perspective like that. You know, two different situations. Okay, well, America's the one that's actually the common factor here. And I'm actually talking about American intervention here. In any case, yeah, worth reminding that people like Rumsfeld and Cheney were sold as the NBA NatSec team. Their idea was to streamline military bureaucracy and make it more efficient. They seriously believed you could occupy Iraq with less than 100,000 troops. Yeah. These are different operations. 2026 Venezuela is more like 1989 Panama, but Operation Iraqi Freedom was an incredibly well-planned invasion that just took a month. Though finding Saddam took longer, we had no plans on how to rebuild or occupy the country, though. The reality of the matter is our military policy in Iraq war was basically just giving Heart of Iron 4 players the keys of the most powerful army in the world. Everyone thought they could win if they just tried hard enough. Yeah, there is a pesky problem here that always rears its ugly head. The people's just need for emancipation. Okay? That's the problem. There is no world where the Trump administration, there's no world where the Trump administration puts a fucking puppet state in charge of Venezuela, and then the Venezuelan population goes, okay, I guess we're now cattle for American ambition. You know? There's no shot. That is the reason why I said when Maduro was arming the entire population, giving them guns to create like a self-defense force, right, amongst the population, I kept repeating, this is not for right now. This is not to like actually use the Venezuelan population to defend their own homeland, their own borders. This is for what comes next. Because if he is deposed, then it will be virtually impossible to deal with Venezuela. It was a contingency plan. It was to say, look, I can arm my population without fear that they will rise up against me and fucking kill me, number one. And number two, if you have an entire population armed to the fucking teeth, that is going to make it much, much more difficult to engage in any sort of puppet exchange of power into a puppet leadership. They will consistently have to fight back against a now armed population that will be very frustrated. And also, even if they don't do that, then you actually bring in America into this military quagmire, and you actually recreate the same exact conditions that took place in Iraq. Okay? That's it. I think at the end of the day, a lot of this stems from Americans falsely believing that, like, the Iraqis were fighting back because they're all like jihadist, scary Muslims that are radical because they read the Quran, whereas Venezuelans won't do that. Ultimately, the point is the same. The goals for America is similar, right? Colonial domination, extraction of natural resources. But then also on top of that, also you're confusing soldiers with gang members with impunity pro-government. Brother, it doesn't fucking matter. Okay? They already used those weapons against Venezuelans. It wasn't to fight Americans. You're confusing soldiers with gang members with impunity pro-government. It doesn't matter. When the puppet leadership takes hold, they will still be a major fucking threat. Do you understand? They will be a major threat. That's the point. They will make it impossible for Machado or whoever comes next to actually control the country. And you need to have control over the country if you want to extract its natural resources. You can't just simply build oil refineries and expect those oil refineries not to be overtaken by the people that you're calling gang members, okay? Your own countrymen, for the record. I cannot think of a more cucked position in this regard. Yeah, if they're Hispanic, they're gang members. If they're Muslim, they're terrorists. That's the reason why Trump is trying to play ball with the exact same leadership structure that exists, but absent Maduro. Okay? That's what's going on here.
In general, but of course...
But you can't say...
Oh, Trump, the United States is going to run Venezuela. Darren Jones is asked if we are now in favor of colonialism.
Mr. Trump yesterday said that the United States would now run Venezuela until it decides to do otherwise. I think we used to have a name for that, colonialism. Are we now in favor of colonialism?
We're not in favour of colonialism, and we're not entirely clear yet what President Trump meant by those comments yesterday.
No, he's pretty clear. He says, we're in charge until we decide otherwise.
Sure, but it's for the Americans now and for Venezuela to set out what happens in the coming days. As the Prime Minister said yesterday, we shouldn't make assumptions or guess what might happen next in certain hypothetical scenarios.
You don't have to make any assumption. President Trump's been pretty clear. He said, we are going to run Venezuela. We will decide when we can stop running Venezuela and pass on power in his word was, judicious way. It's pretty clear. We must have a view on that, surely.
But we don't know the shape, the timescale, the details of that. And as I say, we don't know yet.
So colonialism is all right as long as it's in the right form?
No, that's not what I said. All I said is...
Well, it is what you said.
No, it's not what I said. What I said is we don't know the details yet.
Can you stop showing me how cucked my country is? Bro, I'm serious. In the next decade or so, if America decided to literally do what they did to Venezuela to like Keir Starmer, you know, in the next couple of years, if America did to Maduro what they, if they did that to Keir Starmer, like no one would say anything. I swear to God, I feel like people would just be like, well, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, Keir Starmer, he's a criminal is what the American government is saying. And if the American government is saying he's a criminal, Keir Starmer would be like, you know, I'm devastated by the charges, but I do believe that the law will prevail. And yes, maybe I have done some of the crimes that I've been accused of committing, and I will be a dutiful servant to the American emperor. I think there would be backlash purely because of a white Western country. Yeah, well, they're talking the same game about Venezuela as fucking Greenland. So who knows? Maybe they won't do that, actually. We don't know that yet.
What's happening in Venezuela. And it would be wrong for government ministers to try...
Yeah, and then China would come out and say, America needs to uphold international law. It's really, we're doing our monthly sternly worded letter campaign.
To make assumptions or to comment on hypotheticals about the future. We're engaging with our counterparts. Of course we are. Our embassy is working in Venezuela, but we should understand what's going to happen next before we comment. And that's what the public would expect of a grown-up professional government.
Yeah, Keir Starmer would be like, I'm monitoring the position from an American prison. Oh, it's so fucking... Alex Ward, this is the thing. Trump is no neocon. These aren't military actions for normative reasons like democracy. This is 19th century stuff. Gunboat diplomacy, tariffs, etc. The U.S. gets what it wants, and you don't. In this case, hopes for more oil, fewer drugs, and migrants, says the NatSec reporter at Wall Street Journal. Yes, neocons earnestly love democracy. That's why their primary project of the last 8 years has been codifying security arrangements with Gulf dictatorships. Yeah, famous lovers of democracy, the neocons. It's the same. It's just Donald Trump is not fucking around with the propaganda. That's it. The only thing difference in this situation is that Donald Trump is not playing around with the propaganda. He's just saying the quiet part out loud. That's it. That's the only difference. And it's so funny to me that like the American liberals are the ones who are trying to normalize it and sanewash him. Just say it's bad or good. That's it. I'm tired of this, okay? I'm tired of this. Just say you like what he's doing because you fucking think America number one, okay? Every other country, not even number two. And let's fucking move on. Like, in a way, I'll be honest, Asmongold and his audience, albeit stupid because they think this will benefit them, are more honest about this perspective because they're at least hearing what Trump is saying and they're repeating it. Liberals, on the other hand, in mainstream media are hearing what Trump is saying and consistently going, hold on. There's a separate, there's more nuance to this. There's got to be a separate reason. Oh, we should listen and learn from what the Venezuelans are saying or whatever the fuck. It's like Trump doesn't give a shit about the Venezuelans. You know that. You've covered it over and over again. Okay? Speaking of, what is this?
How Venezuela.
Oh, more Asmongold. Hold on.
After waking up in a Brooklyn jail cell this morning, a limping Nicolas Maduro was driven to a helicopter and flown with his wife over the East River to a federal courtroom in Manhattan, surrounded by Drug Enforcement Agency officers 2 days after they were snatched from Caracas by US Special Forces in the dead of night. Thousands of miles away, Venezuela's interim leader, his ally and junior Delcy Rodriguez, was preparing to be officially sworn in as president. She may soon be at the helm, but make no bones, said Donald Trump, answering his own questions on Air Force One.
Don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
Yes, we're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
We're in charge.
Earlier on Sunday, he told The Atlantic magazine that if Rodriguez doesn't do what's right, she's going to pay a very big price, probably bigger than Maduro. Her public riposte came on Instagram in a direct missive to the US president, saying, "Donald Trump, our peoples and our region deserve peace and dialogue, not war." But with the country under a naval blockade, surrounded by up to 20,000 US troops amassing since the summer, she'll be operating with a not-so-metaphorical gun to her head.
Good night. Happy New Year.
Maduro will appear in court this afternoon alongside his wife on charges of drug trafficking. His lawyers are expected to argue that under US and international law, he should, as a sovereign head of a foreign state...
I'm going to keep it $150. When people say, at Kaya, where is this on? That's funny. When people say this is spiritually Israeli, under different circumstances, I would agree with you. Like, and it's funny as a joke, but like, this is just American, and Israel is spiritually American, really. This is just how we do things, and this is how we've always done things. The difference, of course, is that because we are the ones doing the thing, and Israel is at least seen as a foreign nation, a lot of people have attributed to this kind of behavior to Israel now, but like, this is how we've always operated.
Be immune from prosecution. The Department of Justice is expected to argue instead that the US doesn't recognize him as such, following 2024's election described by international observers as fraudulent. The UN Security Council is today convening to discuss the situation in a meeting backed by Venezuelan allies Russia and China and requested by Colombia, itself in the verbal crosshairs on Air Force One.
Venezuela is very sick. Colombia is very sick too. Who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States, and he's not going to be doing it very long, let me tell you.
What does that mean? He's not going to be doing it very long.
He's not doing it very long. He has cocaine mills and cocaine
Adolf Hitler.
factories. He's not going to be doing it very long.
So there will be an operation by the U.S. and...
It sounds good to me.
A threat of sorts to Colombia's left-leaning leader Gustavo Petro, whose term comes to an end anyway next year. Senator Lindsey Graham.
That's not going to stop Trump from prosecuting him if he sees fit. If anything, he doesn't even have like the protective cover, which doesn't really mean anything as we found out, of being the head of a fucking foreign state.
Graham at the president's side told Cuba to watch out too, even if Trump said it didn't need any action because it was going down anyway. Trump's is an administration stacked with Latin America hawks, not least Secretary of State Marco Rubio, said to be the architect of US Venezuela policy. But there were words too from the US president on his hopes of annexing Greenland, the semi-autonomous Danish territory, comments Greenland's prime minister described as utterly unacceptable.
We need Greenland from a national security.
Cuba's next, Colombia's next, Mexico's next, Greenland is next. And everyone's like, come on, guys, he's just fucking joking, okay? Come on, he's just joking, brother. It's like, has he been joking? Because it's fucking, I'm not laughing. I don't see the laughter.
It's so strategic. Right now, Greenland is covered with Russian and Chinese ships all over the place. We need Greenland from the standpoint of national security. And Denmark is not going to be able to do it, I can tell you.
With the echoes of Saturday's strikes on Caracas still reverberating, and with the future governance of Venezuela yet to be defined and determined, one thing is clear about ongoing US intervention.
We're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure. And the oil companies are ready to go.
Venezuela holds the world's largest estimated oil reserves, most of it untapped. The price for peace then for its new president.
You think as the Roman Empire was falling, like the peasants were falling for the aura and hype moments, they're like, yeah, we actually took out another tribe here, like fucking sick. No, it really makes me feel like I'm playing a role here, you know? Falling for the aura and hype moments. Yeah, the peasants did not get the news. It's true. Until they were parading the Gauls and the leaders, right? Like the tribal leaders and shit, through the main roads. Too busy dying from influenza. Brother, yes, that's my point. they were literally fucking dying. They were dying. They barely had money, but they were like, I'm based in SQPR pilled. Like, nah, you don't understand. It's actually kind of dope. The armor goes hard. You know what I mean? They were like, listen, objectively, like, it's cool that we're just dominating these fucking villages, right? Yeah, what do you think? We're about to die from Legionnaire's disease in the United States of America in 2026, and you're over here acting like it's any different, dude. We're bringing back old plagues with RFK Jr., okay? We're out here fucking measles maxing. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Measured in barrels that will take billions and years to extract. Another costly, lengthy intervention, the likes of which Trump had once ruled out.
Yeah, the town crier was fucking... The town crier was going around going, yeah, based. Yes. We've done it again. It is so based. Fear not, commoner. We will. Yeah, this is real civilizational decline, but the people who usually use language like that don't care about it. Yeah, so here's the thing. The reason why I brought this up is because, like, I obviously posted about, like, dying empire and the last fight of a dying empire, and a lot of people got in their feelings about it. Because for them, this is like power projection, right? Like, this is supposed to make them feel like the empire is not dying, right? Where is it? Like, it was the first thing that I said initially. And I had some criticizers from the left as well who were saying, like, this is absurd to say this is a dying empire. America is still, like, obviously the hegemonic superpower of the world. It's the great evil, right? And I get it. Like, I understand why you're saying that, because it's still true, right? Of course, it's still true. America's still the hegemonic superpower here. But yeah, when I said belligerent madman sitting on a throne of a dying empire, lashing out in every direction, pulling the rest of the world into chaos and destruction. And a lot of people got mad at me for saying this, of course. And you know, the most common, like, own I saw was like, get wrecked, commie. Like, we actually are still incredibly powerful. But what they don't realize is, like, this isn't what I'm talking about when I say we are a dying empire, okay? Like, we've been doing this. We haven't stopped doing this, and we will probably continue doing this until we can't, right? This isn't the reason why I'm saying we're a dying empire. We're a dying empire because, well, first of all, yes, Hit Dog's holler is correct. The reason why you got really fucking mad about it is because you kind of experienced it too. We're a dying empire because look around, okay? Mass homelessness, mass drug addiction in the fucking streets. The roads are in a state of disrepair. Everything is fucking crumbling. Everyone recognizes that we're on a downtrend. And yet, for some weird reason, every second, like, imperial conquest is a moment for us to, I guess, set back the clock to believe that we're actually doing all of this for some reason because we're dominating somebody else and we're going to be good. Meanwhile, the very same forces that have actually caused this empire to fall apart and create this, like, state of disrepair are the same forces why we are doing this kind of thing for this nakedly ambitious imperial conquest. The reason why we're doing it is so that the very same people that refuse to give back any of the fucking resources that we've extracted, refuse to actually fucking fix anything in this goddamn country, continue to bring in super profits year over year. That's it. And it's crazy because we are so heavily propagandized that we don't even demand like a return on this, right? We don't even demand like, hey, well, can the Venezuelan oil pay for healthcare? Which, for the record, would still be unimaginably immoral. Okay, make no mistake, and it is still fucking ridiculous. But I do think that eventually, this movement will move in that direction of like nationalist social democracy, maybe inevitably, where you will see like a nationalistic fervor if America even actually loses sight of their pro-capitalist sentiment to build some sort of like nationalistic mythos around their people, which I don't even think is going to happen anytime soon. But I do feel as though the next stage in this will be to create national social democracy. Because like at some point, the peasants are going to revolt when they realize that, they're not getting the same bread that they were getting year over year. A social fascism, if you will. That's what Jeff said when you left last night. Yeah. You're just stealing talking points from Adam. Get your own shit. Adam Friedland is saying that the next evolution in America is full tilt social fascism or national social democracy. Not socialism, because they're too propagandized against that kind of prospect anyway. But even then, I don't think we'll ever get there, partially because like Americans are too pro-capitalist to ever build any sort of like nationalistic sentiment. Are you talking about MAGA fucking communism? Yeah. Well, Venezuela is the testing ground for MAGA communism. You will see. We shall see if the MAGA communism will be implemented in Venezuela. Okay? Ay, ay, ay. Everything sucks so bad. Ay, ay, ay.
And his wife seen here in U.S. custody being transported by law enforcement. As they prepare to appear in federal court, President Trump is adamant that the U.S. is now in charge of Venezuela.
Don't ask me who's in charge because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
That statement contradicted hours earlier by his own Secretary of State.
You are all the same American shitbag. The world fucking hate you. Poor Gen Z. Long you gonna keep listening to those two dumb fuck Asmongold and Hasan to get your politic view? You will go nowhere. Poor kid getting ass fucked. Truth hurt. You are all the same American shitbag. The world fucking hate you. I mean, I'm gonna chalk this up to ESL. I don't think this guy understands, so I think that's the reason why he's saying that. Why don't you use your fucking two naming? Why don't you use your fucking Second Amendment to your fucking Constitution to clean up your fucking shit? American shitbag. Fuck, I hate you. Based in third world is pilled. Answer the question. This is the Maoist third worldist version of saying, you're so rich, why don't you do socialism with your wealth? Okay. Cowardly is the answer. Yes, it's cowardliness. That's the answer. It's the cowardice that is stopping me from doing an act of violent terrorism and getting my shit blown off momentarily. That's what it is. Let me foment Maoist revolution in a country of Treatlerites without even doing any kind of fucking class consciousness whatsoever. That person is not a Republican. That person is a third worldist saying, Americans, you all have guns. Why haven't you overthrown your government? And the reason for why is because they are the most propagandized people on the planet. We are. Okay? I'm an American as well. My goal is to cut through that propaganda to help Americans understand that this is not the way. And it's, because we're on the internet and there are people from all around the world that can tune in and say whatever the fuck they think. Luckily, that's a great thing. It's not a bad thing. You're going to hear differing opinions such as this one. Okay?
Who suggested the U.S. won't govern Venezuela, but instead pressure the country with a military blockade on oil.
What we are running is the direction that this is going to moving forward, and that is we have leverage. This leverage we are...
It's just funny because, like, that is the founding principle of the Second Amendment, is to, combat against tyranny. And I guess, like, a lot of people that are overseas don't realize that most of the people that have guns actually love the boot and sometimes even take matters into their own hands to be the boot, right? Like where they'll be like, no, outsource the policing to me, please. I love the boot. Like they don't even realize that like that's the first the Lumpenproles with weapons are the first vanguard for the capitalist imperialist boot. They will defend the king. Okay? They are not even the landed gentry, and yet they see themselves as a part of the process. They have been deluded into thinking that they play a role in this, that they think like, no, it's good actually. I do want Exxon to continue farming imperial super profits. This is good for me too. I don't have health care, nor do I even have a working hospital in a 100-mile radius to me because all the rural hospitals are closed. But honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Using, and we intend to use. We started using already.
This morning, the administration has yet to explain the legal authority for running Venezuela or detail how America will actually take charge of a country of more than 31 million people. The president has made clear he wants to see U.S. companies move to tap into Venezuela's vast oil reserves, demanding total access.
Total access. We need total access. We need access to the oil and to other things in their country that allow us to rebuild their country.
And then delivering this threat to Venezuela's interim leader, Delcy Rodriguez, saying,
It's so funny because, yeah, I've seen a lot of people in Latin America say that Americans could do something about it, and it's kind of funny. Yeah, meanwhile, Americans are like, why won't China do something about it? Americans are like, why won't China do something about it? Why won't Russia do something about it? Everyone wants someone else to do something about it. And I kind of understand why. Because if you look at if you look objectively at the conditions in America and where the working class is here and how deluded they are, how propagandized they are, how powerful pro-capitalist dogma is here, it's genuinely impossible to look at it from the outside and not understand exactly how hog-like the average American is. Down to the liberal, too, down to the progressive person. There's a reason why even progressives and liberals are like, well, at least the Venezuelans are happy that America is extracting super profits from Venezuelan natural resources, right? It's just virtually impossible to put a dent in it. Why the fuck do you think there are so many people objectively devoid of capital, right? No capital whatsoever, no bitches, no capital, no deed to the factory, no capital accumulation prospects whatsoever, come into this chat and defend the billionaires and the millionaires. Why do you think that happens? Why do you think that people actually take on the ownership role over the propaganda and do it themselves? Why do you think I receive so much fucking backlash? Because we are brainwashed, okay? We are straightforwardly brainwashed, brother. That's what it is. A lot of people are brainwashed into thinking one day I will be ExxonMobil, okay? That's it. And there are very powerful propaganda forces here, ideological forces that play a formative role in developing not class consciousness, but everything but, right? Nationalism is one of those things. Racism is probably more impactful than nationalism in America, because America, I don't think, has like any sort of even civic nationalist understanding. But racism is a good one, right? White supremacy is a good one. Now they're trying to do Christian nationalism, which I don't think will work either. But that's another version of this, like this tribalism that they try to foment, to be like, no, we're a part of this in-group, right? We're a part of this in-group, and we have to unite on the same goals here, not realizing that they should be uniting on the boundaries of class internationally, really. But it's just not going to happen. Rugged individualism is so set in the collective consciousness of the average American that they even fucking they lash out at someone that tells them like, no, this is not the right way. Here are the people that are fucking you. Here's who you should be mad at. And they get even mad at the messenger, right? They shoot the messenger all the fucking time. That's it. So in a situation like that, you just have to work within the confines of what's permissible. You have to work within the confines of what could, where you can actually have some impact. Yeah, I saw this. Maduro or Trump, be informed. Compare them on the issues that matter. Yeah. Maduro really fucked up because he should have just been doing that instead, and then he would not have been. He would not have been abducted in the middle of the night. Asmongold just said that you are delusional and is a terrorist. What the fuck is going on? Well, there you go. That's exactly what I was talking about, right? Do not listen to this guy. Do not listen to Hasan. He doesn't have your best interest at heart. He's a terrorist. He's a terrorist. He's a terrorist. He's scary. He's scary. He's scary. He's a terrorist. Same shit every day, okay? It's fine. It is what it is. I hear your name calling, but I don't hear you saying I'm wrong. Address the arguments that I'm presenting. Tell me exactly how America's actions in Venezuela is going to be helpful, not only for Venezuelans, but for Americans as well. You can't. So instead of actually presenting an argument as to how awesome this is going to be, you just say, yeah, base, yeah, base, yeah, base. And then you turn around and say, all the naysayers are actually hate. They don't like how long America's dick is right now. They don't like how powerful we are. It's like, brother, you're not powerful. As a matter of fact, your argument is coming from a place of powerlessness, that you're leaning into American military prowess to make yourself feel like you're a part of a team. Because at the end of the day, what is this all for, right? I think so much about the idea of like, oh, insert, third world country is going to learn today why we don't have healthcare, why Americans don't have healthcare. When that joke started, right? When that joke was first brought up, it was actually shitting on Americans. It was supposed to be a joke about how like we spend all of our money on endless military adventurism overseas instead of spending it on ourselves, instead of spending it on healthcare, right? And now, because conditions have worsened to such a degree, people actually put that as like people actually lean into that. And there's some truth in that sentiment. The truth is, if we don't have health care, if we have no job prospects, if we have no opportunity to purchase a home, if we know that we're never going to retire, and the only thing that we can lean into, the only thing we can grab onto is America's military prowess, then obviously you have to lean into that. Because if America's military prowess is all for naught, right? If America can't even dominate other countries, then what the fuck is this entire project for? And for me, I try to explain to people that like that meme in and of itself is showing you that you're the one getting fucked. Because you're not a C-suite executive at Lockheed Martin. You're not a major shareholder of Northrop Grumman. You're just a regular guy working day in, day out, trying to fucking make ends meet. And you're basically defending your own demise. You're defending capital accumulation. You're defending the interests of capital without even realizing it. So much so that you've made the boot a whole ass part of yourself. You have swallowed the boot whole. And now you are championing American imperialism as though it's somehow helpful to you and your bottom line, when it's clearly not, right? New senior Trump admin officials commissioned CIA analysis about who could leave Venezuela if Maduro were to lose power. The answer: Maduro regime figures like Delcy Rodriguez, not opposition figures like Maria Machado. Trump was briefed on the assessment before the Maduro op. See, I told you. Remember when I said there's right there, baby. Remember when I said there's probably internal conflict within the CIA and that Trump does have like, some rationale behind why he's not going with Machado. And the other side of the CIA is saying, well, we put a lot of investment into Machado. Why the fuck wouldn't you work it? So they leak stuff to the Washington Post. And then the other side of the CIA leaks stuff to the Wall Street Journal and says, no, we actually gave him a decent rationale for why he shouldn't go with Machado. The reality of the matter is trying to put the fear of God into Delcy Rodriguez to ensure that Delcy Rodriguez plays ball with the current administration is probably the pathway to least resistance if your goal is extraction of the natural resources from Venezuela, and to ensure that Venezuela gives you assurances that they will never work with China or Russia. That's it. So that's why I said what I said. That's why I told you that there's probably internal conflict, and that's the reason why people are leaking stuff to the press. It kind of feels like you're forgetting about the several, if not dozens, of American Oil Corporation board members who are going to see huge gains if this happens. Yeah, you're right. I never factor those guys. The true minority, okay? The POWs, people of wealth, the POMs, people of means. After all, who is more marginalized than the average billionaire? Okay, I forgot about them, and I apologize sincerely for this mistake. My mistake. I was too busy talking about the working class, both here in America and the working class in Venezuela.
Are you
Yeah, reporters, are you going to demand that Delcy Rodriguez let opposition figures return or free any political prisoners? Trump, we haven't gotten to that yet. Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
Going to demand that Delcy Rodriguez let opposition figures return or free any political prisoners?
We haven't gotten to that yet. Right now, what we want to do is fix up the oil, fix up the country, bring the country back, and then have elections.
No, are you going to Rodriguez let opposition figures return or free any political prisoners?
We haven't gotten to that.
Looks like Trump is primarily aiming at running Venezuela through other senior Chavistas who will give him what he wants on the energy issue and is not interested in getting into the woods of engineering a liberal regime or even tilting the fortunes towards the opposition. Yeah. It would be really funny. I mean, to a certain degree, that actually gives me a little bit of... It gives me some satisfaction to see this fucking asshole lose everything in the process. And all of her fucking powerful donors and backers eating crow, eating shit.
Amazing, super exciting for me. We will open Venezuela for foreign investment. I am talking about a $1.7 trillion opportunity, not only in oil and gas, which is huge, and you know that the opportunities, because we will open all upstream, middle stream, downstream to all companies, but also in mining, in gold, in infrastructure, power. We have our grid right now has a 17 gigawatt opportunity of energy potential that needs to be rehabbed. Certainly for technology and AI and tourism. You know, Venezuela has 2,800 kilometers of pristine Caribbean coastline ready to be developed. So this is going to be huge. We will bring rule of law. We will open.
Dude, this is literally the Juan Guaido problem. Every single oppositional figure in Venezuela cannot even hide that they're a CIA asset. Okay? They just say the quiet part out loud. Like, honestly, if I was, I don't know, the son of like some fucking Venezuelan billionaire, okay, I would never bring this shit up. I would be like, Venezuela must be strong. We must actually make sure that, you know, we must actually make sure that we're a strong nation. We're a proud nation. We're not a nation that's supposed to be dominated by other, other countries and things like that. Nope. These guys literally go, I'm a dog and I will bark for you. I will get on all fours and bark for you, American capital. Like they just straight up openly say that they're like CIA assets. And I feel like if you are a Venezuelan with like 3 fucking brain cells, you're going to look at this and be like, this is ridiculous. Like, why the fuck do I care about this? I just want to eat food, you know? I just want to make sure that, you know, my country is doing all right. Because at the end of the day, that's what people want. It's not really funny. What is this?
Amigos, yo soy su nuevo presidente, el señor Donald J. Trump.
Stop.
Markets, we will have security for foreign investment and a transparent, massive privatization program that is waiting for you. And
what is this? Eva Golinger, attorney and author of the Chavez Code, Immigration Human Rights, occasional screenwriter. I don't know what this assessment is. Hold on. Let's read all that. That's too much. I'd rather read it in an article format if I'm going to read that much. You know what I'm saying? Here, let me show you some Chavez stuff. Okay? Let me show you some Chavez stuff a little bit. They accuse me of sponsoring terrorism. They are the ones who sponsor terrorism. I take this opportunity to once again condemn from the depths of my soul the state of Israel. Damn you, state of Israel. Damn you, terrorists and murderers. Que viva Palestina libre. Long live the Palestinian people, heroic people, good people. Have you seen the Yankee Empire? Have you not seen the massacre that the genocidal state of Israel committed? Just weird because like this is pre-October 7. It seems like I don't know what he's talking about. Why is he talking about the most moral nation on the planet? Like far before I found out, you know, growing up in Connecticut, and I found out that Israel is bad, but only after October 7. And it's just strange that this guy is talking about Israel being bad far before October 7. Interesting. Against a group of pacifists. that was taking humanitarian cargo to the Palestinian people in Gaza. Wait, and completely surrounded by Israel on all sides, which doesn't even allow them access to water. They massacred people there. You all saw it, didn't you? Well, look at the United States. The United States has said that they are concerned. They're concerned. Imagine Alcala, God forbid, that such a thing would have happened in Venezuelan waters. We would have already been invaded. Know that they would have already invaded Venezuela. But no, since it's Israel, they are allowed to do anything. It's an example of a double standard. The Obama government condemns terrorism, unless it's terrorism which they themselves have committed. Now look, the Venezuelan opposition hasn't said anything against Israel. Note that this video was not taken in 2025. Yes. It's not. Because Israel finances the Venezuelan opposition. Israel funds the counter-revolution. It's true. There are even groups of Israeli terrorists from Mossad who are after me, trying to kill me. This video is older than most Zoomers able to vote right now. Here's Isaac Herzog, current president of the genocidal Israeli death and rape cult with the ADL's Abe Foxman, talking about how crucial it is for Zionist hegemony to destroy Chavez in Venezuela, and they have plans for it that they won't discuss on camera. Is this from the lobby? No.
Hi, Abe. I wanted to ask you, since we met last, about the issue of Venezuela. Because I heard voices kind of saying it's not so bad, and Latin America is not so bad, but I'm not convinced. And the question
you have
is
good reason not to be convinced. Good reason. It is getting worse.
Right.
And little by little, as long as oil money works.
I'm told that by our experts, it's the only, except for Iran, it's the only government propagated anti-Semitism today around the world. It's a
formally. Right.
This is
first
quite scary.
Within the country and then outside.
So are you pressing in any way?
We've talked to Jesse Jackson, who has a relationship, but it's not for camera, but there are other plans.
We'll talk about it in a minute.
Shit, nice, dude. Thanks. That's cool, I guess. There's also a clip of Chavez completely humiliating Machado when she was in Congress being a hog. Here's Machado saying, how can you talk about respecting the private sector in Venezuela when you have decided to decided on expropriation, which is stealing? Chavez says stealing. She says, yes, stealing the properties. The business of business people, merchants, even small guest houses, whose owners haven't even been compensated. Tell Venezuela the truth. There's a decent Venezuela here that wants a profound transformation. Brother, this is low-key precisely the reason why you do have to have, like, you know, good party discipline and stuff like that. I'm just saying. Holding on to, like, whatever you can, especially in the tumultuous period of transformation, you just got to do it. You just have to do it. You can't, there's no other way. Otherwise, you're going to get fucked over and over again. And this is the time to face with seriousness and a historic challenge ahead of us. Your time is up. This is the time for a new Venezuela. Yes, accept the debate, President.
Bien.
He said, bien, fine. First, I suggest you win the primaries, right? Win the primary. That's the first thing you have to do because you're not on a level to debate with me. You're not on that level. I'm very sorry about that. Since you went so far as to call me a thief, you called me a thief in front of our country. I won't cause you offense. An eagle doesn't hunt flies, Congresswoman. They should have arrested her for being CIA. See, if you don't do that, then many decades down the line, you find yourself killing a bunch of random student protesters and creating an environment where, understandably, a lot of people are going to hate your fucking guts. If you don't cut off the head of the snake, you know, definitely a true Adam. Some more Chavez predicting the current situation. In a 2009 interview, then President Hugo Chavez rejected claims of the U.S. That he was paranoid about the United States, arguing that U.S. hostility towards Venezuela was driven by oil. He said Venezuela has more than a century of oil reserves while the U.S. is running out, and that Washington has repeatedly sought to install a subordinate government in Caracas to secure control. Chavez described a long record of U.S. and CIA-backed coups and assassinations across Latin America, calling it a dark and destructive period for democracy. The warning remains relevant as the United States carried out large-scale bombing campaign on Venezuela and captured President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, forcibly removing them from the country in a direct attack on Venezuela's sovereignty. Governments around the world have condemned the operation as a violation of international law and a blatant act of imperial control aimed at seizing Venezuela's oil resources and undermining its political independence. Yes, governments across the world. Not a single government in the fucking Western Hemisphere, though. Well, not the Western Hemisphere, but like just the West in general.
Pero tú no ves.
So there's a possibility
Tú
of
no
war.
ves la
You don't
amenaza
see
que es
it?
para
You don't see
nosotros.
the threat that the United
El
States
imperio de los Estados
empire
Unidos.
poses to us?
cree que Estados Unidos
Why
quiere
don't you
atacar
think
Venezuela?
why do you think the United
Bueno,
States
ahí está
wants
la
to attack
historia reciente.
Venezuela? Well, there's recent history. I'll tell you the most important reason here. Right here is the largest oil reserve on the planet. Here in Venezuela, we have oil for more than 100 years. The United States is running out of oil. Okay, to be fair, they're not anymore. But anyway, the most important reason why the United States wants to put a government here that is subordinate to it, to the empire, as they had for a long time in Venezuelan oil. I want to ask you a question without offending you. Are you paranoid about the United States? No, not at all. I'm just being realistic. If you could ask them that question you asked me, the thing is, you can't because most of them are dead.
Hazle esa pregunta a Jacobo Arbenz, que era presidente de Guatemala.
Ask Jacobo Arbenz that question.
Que era presidente de
Who was the president of Guatemala when I was born? You hadn't been born yet. Just because he wanted to carry out agrarian reform. The United States invaded and overthrew him. You could ask the question to João Goulart. In Brazil, the United States overthrew him. The Brazilian, the United States overthrew him. You could ask that question to Salvador Allende, the martyred president. Yes, we can read Hasan. Some people are not actually fucking tuning in. They're just listening, okay? Why is it that people get mad when I do accommodation? And if I don't do accommodation, people get mad when I don't read it out loud. When they go, I can't read right now. Can you please read it out loud? You could ask that question to Juan Bosch, the former Dominican president, overthrown by U.S. invasion. Omar Torrijos, assassinated by the CIA, and many others. It's not paranoia. It's the truth. I am fulfilling my responsibility as head of state. The paranoid, those on the extreme right, the crazies who believe that the world will not change. The Yankee bootlicker bourgeoisie of this continent who want to continue dominating these people in their wills, not be able to achieve it. Who want to continue dominating these peoples and their will, not be able to achieve it. Only after September 11 did the United States begin to make a list of terrorists. Well, I'm on that list too. The U.S., the government of the United States, dropped an atomic bomb on Hiroshima, an atomic bomb, and another on Nagasaki. That's terrorism. Yunky. Anyway, the reason why I bring up Chavez is because first of all, Maduro's base is called the Chavistas. Okay, that's how powerful the Chavez mobilization was. Like they're still Maduro for all intents and purposes. Like he maybe wasn't the best continuation of Chavez's legacy. However, like the reason why he has any fucking base of support whatsoever is because of Chavez. And yes, he was a polarizing figure, certainly, especially for a lot of wealthy business owners, and he consistently had to duke it out with them in this democratic process. But just if you want to truly understand why, if you want to truly understand like where this kind of attitude is coming from, why there is why there's any fucking support for Maduro whatsoever in the country, that's what it is. This is where it comes from. It's the immediate improvements that Chavez did. For whom, you might ask? Well, oftentimes for the voiceless people. When Chavez was kidnapped and held in a military complex in 2002, he said, "At least I have the advantage that Che did not have. He stood up to his killers while being injured. I am not injured. I am prepared to die." Yeah, Delcy, the person who is now the interim president, for the record, that Trump is trying to play ball with, has an incredible family legacy as well. She is the daughter of a revolutionary who was tortured, imprisoned, and killed by the CIA. She is a Chavista to the core and more deeply immersed in leftist ideology than Maduro, intellectually speaking. And her brother is also deeply embedded in the Venezuelan government too. And as VP, she was also in charge of the intelligence community as well. So like the person that the Trump administration is currently trying to play ball with, or trying to manage what happens next with Venezuela, is someone that is maybe even less pliant than Maduro is. But I don't know. I don't know what will happen, because she has already said that she wants to comply. Because at first, now I know people are saying she gave Maduro up. I know that there is some suspicion, considering that there is clearly a bunch of moles in Maduro's orbit. But I don't know if it is. I don't know if it's her. I don't think it's her. But we shall see. We shall see what takes place. Having said that, however, here is a CNN exclusive from Jim Secudo, however you say his last name, contradicting Trump claims on opposition leader Maria Corina Machado doesn't have the support to lead Venezuela. Her advisor told me, I don't have, here, this is what Machado's advisor said.
And I don't have any doubt that she's going to be, Gonzalez, the leaders of the rebuilding of Venezuela, where obviously the U.S. is going to be our main allies, and we will have plenty of other allies in Latin America and Europe and beyond. But Maria Corina Machado is a leader who is out of this world, and she's got the support for...
Yeah, this is cope as fuck, dude, I think. I think it's cope. Especially because, do you think if Kamala won, do you think it would be Machado instead? 100%. 100%. And you'd be hearing a lot of like woke and gay propaganda about how this had to happen wokely. And you would, if you think people are saying, oh, well, the Venezuelans are celebrating now, right now, a lot of hogs are saying that shit when they're not busy jerking off over how they're going to have free oil or something because they're stupid. But if you think that the propaganda would not be a million times stronger under a competent liberal administration, you are out of your fucking mind. Okay? Yeah. If Kamala won, they would have said this is to save Guyana from Venezuelan imperialism, and that they're doing this to install democracy and a liberal democracy in Venezuela, and the streets of Venezuela are crying with joy that we did this. I promise you. The one thing you can still get from liberals is competency and empire. You think Kamala would have done this? I mean, I don't know what kind of like military extraction would have taken place. And there's no reason to have this kind of like hypothetical back and forth because she lost. And I don't know if it would have been like, kidnapping in the same way. Probably not. But even if push came to shove and we were forced into taking some sort of military action against Venezuela, okay? Even if we were forced into taking some sort of military action against Venezuela, the propaganda would be much more competent. I suspect it would have been covert CIA shit though, rather than what took place in broad daylight. And they never would have been like, yeah, we're doing it for stealing oil. Like they never would say that. Liberals know never to say that. But ultimately, it's a hypothetical. I don't know. Maybe Kamala wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? Maybe Kamala Harris would not have done it. I have no way of knowing. She lost. Okay. She certainly presented herself as being militant, right? We're going to have the most lethal military, all this stuff. And that was the reason why Donald Trump could present himself as a liar once again and claim that he was going to be the most peaceful dove. But there's no reason to have a conversation about whether or not Kamala Harris would have done it. But you just said, wait, what? Said what? The good news is that it seems like the Democratic Party's focus testing has found that it's about the oil is the most potent response. The bad news is that the lady who's saying this accepted an endorsement from Dick Cheney in the last election cycle. Yeah. Your read on this isn't 100% fluid. It's about our refineries. I doubt Kamala would send boots on the ground. No, I'm not. I don't. Again, the question is not what Kamala Harris would do or how she would approach Venezuela. The question is like, if there was any sort of military action against Venezuela, whether it's like boots on the ground or like CIA assassination or anything like that, right? And again, this is all hypothetical. It's stupid. It's a stupid hypothetical to have. It's a stupid hypothetical to entertain. But what I'm talking about is how they would sell it. Okay? How they would sell it. And how they would sell it is to never bring up oil. Do you understand? But it's, once again, a totally pointless exercise because Kamala Harris is not the president. What's more important to me is why Kamala Harris lost and now Trump is the president. Okay? And if you want to have a conversation about that, that's a real conversation that we can have. One that I've had time and time again throughout the election cycle. If you go back and listen to my commentary back then, I kept repeating over and over again, Kamala Harris is posturing alongside Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney. Kamala Harris is posturing towards like, a lethal military. This kind of stuff does not actually win votes at all. It just, no liberal is going to look at that and go, hell yeah. I mean, maybe some liberals are, but like, no, the broader base in the Democratic Party is not going to look at that and go, hell yeah, I want a fucking lethal military. That's right. That's awesome. They're not going to, you're going to lose votes on your side, and not a single Republican is going to turn around and think that you're actually going to be the more competent, military leader. And yeah, that's why Democrats still trying to fucking do this kind of thing are so stupid. They still bring this point up every time, and everybody dunks on them. Okay, everybody dunks on them anytime people post this. Democrats, if they were in charge right now, would be doing 100% the exact same thing, 1-to-1. Make no fucking mistake. Anyone who tries to tell you that Kamala Harris will be different is a fucking delusional moron. Do not listen to them. Why is this clip 17 or 18 seconds long, I wonder? Oh, perhaps it's because I was talking about Israel, right? This evil man told millions of impressionable young voters that Kamala and Trump would be 1-to-1 exact same on everything. Look how passionate he was. He believed this to his core evil. First of all, he's trying to make this seem like I was saying this in the lead up to the election. But if you watch the video, you understand that I was saying this after the election, literally, which is why I said this is about Israel. And after the election, I'm right. Harris postured in favor of more U.S. military intervention. This is why Trump was able to lie about being a peaceful dove. Your inability to admit Dem campaign mistakes is why fascists keep winning. Lock in. I love how they even cropped the news article you were looking at. Yeah, Hasan is correct. Democrats also overwhelmingly support this. The only difference is they find Trump's method uncouth and would rather ramp up the sanctions regime to starve the people. Liberals are fascists without the little red swastika hats should be treated as such. Now, this is a Jim Jones Juice Kool-Aid, maybe a little bit more aggressive than me in terms of the commentary there. But there is some truth to it, because it's not like the Democrats did not keep up the fucking sanctions on Venezuela. They did. To quote a certain pervert, I do not stream in 30-second segments. Yeah, I don't know which pervert said that, but it's pretty funny. Because I assume, given the way you presented that, it's probably one of the people that love clipping me in 15, sometimes even 5-second segments, only to then get mad when people don't understand the nuance of how he's defending whatever dumb, indefensible thing. Yeah, and if you want to see the original clip, we've shown it before. Championing that was coming from, remember all the fucking anti-war championing that was coming from, you got duped. Hasan was talking about bipartisan American support for defending the attack. You got duped. Hasan was talking about the bipartisan American support for defending Israel and the attack against Iran. Maybe you should ask yourself why the context, a clearly visible tweet about Israel and Iran that Hasan was talking about is cropped out. Well, I think we got duped because that person does not give a shit. Dumbass Republicans. I fucking told you that it was all bullshit over and over again. And make no mistake when I say this. Make no mistake when I say this. Democrats would do this exact same thing. Democrats maybe won't do the same, song and dance in the way that Donald Trump does. They wouldn't go about it the same way, but they would do the exact same thing. Democrats, if they were in charge right now, would be doing 100% the exact same thing. 1-to-1. Make no fucking mistake. Anyone who tries to tell you that Kamala Harris will be different is a fucking delusional moron. Do not listen to them. Why? Kamala Harris's own campaign aides have actually come out and talked about how they would be doing a better job defending Israel right now. Chuck Schumer has come out and launched his support. Chuck Schumer, a week ago, was complaining that Donald Trump was Taco Trump. He wasn't going to actually fucking strike Iran. Ask yourself why they do this all the time, man. Why are they left bashing? If you are first and foremost offended at Donald Trump, why the fuck are you spending any time actively going after people who are doing that, perhaps better than you are? Okay? Oh, this is one of my old hits.
One of the things that worries me is just how quick.
This was right after the Al Ahly hospital strike, by the way.
After the event.
Where I told the BBC straight to their face that they should have never apologized to Israel for their initial assessment that it was actually Israel that struck the courtyard of the hospital.
Events of the last 2 weeks, how polarizing the debate becomes when it comes to this issue. Why is that?
I think it's polarizing because people do not see the humanity of those who are under colonial subjugation. Ever since the Nakba, Palestinians have not been able to return back to their homes, 700,000 originally in 1948, there has been a brutal occupation that the Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International now correctly consider to be an apartheid state. This is, of course, 20 years after Nelson Mandela had considered Israel to be an apartheid state, and I feel like he knows a thing or two about apartheid states in general. It's not necessarily a polarizing subject. It's just that there are right-wing forces inside of Israel that are utilizing the conflict as a means to continue getting more land grabs and continue the brutal occupation in the West Bank as well, which is illegal by international law. But it's not polarizing.
Oh, that light wasn't doing you any favors? I know. This was literally, I think, a day or two after the Al Ahly hospital strike. You can be so eloquent and nice to randos and yell at chatters here. Yeah, I wonder why I'm not yelling at fucking the BBC News guy who obviously understands my position and probably put his fucking career in jeopardy to have someone like myself on the BBC News broadcast when it was like literally a week in or 2 weeks into fucking Israel's death and destruction campaign. Are you crazy? Did you see this? An Amazon Prime reality show?
We are on
featuring Hasan obsessed pro-Israel influencers. Oh my God.
3, 2, 1.
You elected a literal socialist to run the global center of capitalism.
We're talking about giving the Nobel Peace Prize to a guy who is declaring war on his own cities.
Your job was like the first lady.
What's the goal? Like, are they only letting you on the show if you're fucking pro-Israel? Is that what it is? Like,
That's
where's
not
the
even
debate?
A real job. You just support your gay husband.
It's Xavier Day.
It's Xavier Week.
Like, the only reason you're choosing to go meet up with your friend Amber Rose while we're filming a reality show is because you weren't in the show.
Cheers.
America is unwell.
The ice is back in town.
Now I run your show.
Amber, run your diet. Get the out of here.
I miss Charlie.
This is America. Everyone has guns, you know.
We're the counter organization to Turning Point USA.
We slide it!
I try to be the gateway drug. Thirst trap them in a little bit.
He's a liar, and he lied to everyone.
I do not want to crawl back to being a corporate.
Wait, she's actually woke, I think. I think she might be the only one that's woke amongst the entire bunch. I thought she was like, I low-key thought that she was, well, not Taylor Lorenz. Taylor Lorenz is awesome, but I don't think she's a part of this. But no, I'm serious. I thought she was actually a fucking reactionary when I first saw her. Okay? But I've seen some of her videos. She hates you because of Kaya Gate. Oh, really? I mean, I don't really give a shit about that. Everybody, whoever got duped by that, it is what it is. But no, I'm not biased. I don't know but I have seen some of her commentary, and I think she's like woke.
I don't want this to get ghetto. It's stressful out here, being black and Republican.
You accidentally said slavery was okay.
What?
The only reason why I say that is because, like, I thought she was right-wing as fuck. I know Taylor was there, man. I don't think she's like a part of the fucking cast, though.
What's wrong with you?
I'm actually authentic. People change. You stay this fucking sane because you just want to get a check. That's all you care about.
I'm as real as my hair.
Thank you.
If I were Israel, I wouldn't even provide.
I can't watch the rest of this. I can't stand this shit. God damn. Gross. What? If you needed further confirmation that the once proud craft of political commentary is now quite literally just drama slop. Yeah, I mean, this is very clearly, this is epic political slop. See what you could do if you had unlimited super PAC funding Yeah. I will not. I mean, good luck to these guys, I guess. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. You got to react to it like Iron Chef. I don't want to even give it any clicks. And I'll be honest, I wish I didn't even know that this existed. The CIA informed Trump ahead of the kidnapping that regime loyalists would be best positioned to lead an interim government in Venezuela. I don't quite believe the stories about Delcy Rodriguez yet, because if I was the CIA leaking stories to the press about how Delcy is secretly a traitor and how she's been having meetings with Rubio, would be a great way of dividing the loyalists and exacerbating the morale crisis. Time will tell, but Delcy Rodriguez, her brother Jorge, Padrino Lopez, and Cabello all seem steadfast in their defiance to the attack and their support for Maduro. Exactly. Open Presence, thank you for the 25. Get the subs. Open Presence, thank you for supporting the Piker Broadcasting Service. Reuters and other major media outlets falsely claimed that Delcy had fled to Russia ahead of the kidnapping. I wonder who leaked that fake story to the press. Surely Reuters thought that they had solid info from a solid source. Yes, you too can support the Piker Broadcasting Service, which is sponsored by you, the viewers, for you, the viewers. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm monitoring the situation with the Delcy thing. Not to get all Chinese with you, but I'm not to get all Keir Starmer with you. Okay, not to get all Chinese with you, but I'm actually condemning this strongly. And not to get all Keir Starmer with you, but I am monitoring the Delcy situation. Okay, because I'm both Keir Starmer and Chinese at different points. Strong condemnation, but also monitoring the situation. But I don't know. I just, given her background, it seems strange if she was like, you know, the person who betrayed Maduro. I would be more likely to believe that Maduro cut a deal with Donald Trump and offered like a show similar to this. But even then, it's not going to happen because then they killed so many people. Like, I doubt that that would be the case, you know? Taylor did film a segment for the show. Yes, I'm saying she's not like a part of the cast. She probably did a fucking segment. Anyway, there was more that I wanted to talk about. Oh, yeah, but Maria Machado is a leader with out of this world support, right? A survey by Venezuelan Herm Hinterlace in October 25 found that 91% of Venezuelans hold an unfavorable opinion of Maria Corina Machado, making her one of the most unpopular political figures in the country. A December 2025 national poll by another Venezuelan firm, Data Viva, found that 89% of Venezuelans rate their support for Maria Corina Machado as low or very low, including 61% expressing strong rejections, while just 11% report any level of support. The same survey found 80% dismissed the Nobel Peace Prize awarded to Machado as a farce. Didn't she win, though? No, she didn't win shit. What are you talking about? 90% also were found to oppose any foreign military intervention in Venezuela. Maduro got 100% betrayed by his own people. That's just how the Maduro regime is. We get it, bro. You hate him, okay? We got it. She did win a Nobel Peace Prize, to be fair. I suspect these polls are biased, if we're being real. But I don't think that she is like independently or uniquely popular, especially considering that if she was, Donald Trump would have insta-locked Machado as the puppet. She would have been on one of the fucking 30 helicopters flying in, and this would have been a more comprehensive assassination. It would have probably been a full-blown decapitation strike, and then they would have installed her as the puppet. And then the people would rejoice if that was the case. But the reason why they didn't do that, and the reason why Donald Trump is still talking about how, you know, maybe Machado's not it, is because they recognize that she doesn't have the juice. She doesn't have the motion. Sure seems like Delcy Rodriguez was a CIA source on the inside who set Maduro up and handed him to the United States. All these leaks makes you wonder about her longevity amidst a country full of Chavez Maduro loyalists. The U.S. operation to capture President Nicolas Maduro at the weekend speared him out of Venezuela for a trial. Rodriguez, a canny political operator, was envisaged as the head of a transitional government in secret talks with her political brother, Jorge. Led with Washington last year about a post-Maduro future, said two people familiar with the discussions. The part of that the reason why I don't believe that is her, the reason why I don't believe that she betrayed Maduro is because of her background. The reason why the reason why I think that there is some fuckery in the way that this operation was conducted is because of the lack of resistance on the ground. And by that, I don't mean like the actual, you know, Cuban security team that Maduro had around him, which in and of itself is already like interesting, right? I mean, there were also Venezuelans around him too, but a big part of his like internal security team was Cuban, okay? But clearly, someone must have given the stand down order, because aside from like the moderate resistance, aside from wasn't that debunked? What was debunked? Aside from the received, and they certainly did, Wait, what? Wasn't that debunked? The security were Venezuelan? No, he had Venezuelan security as well, but he also had a big chunk of... No, the Cuban government announced that their militants had died. 32 Cubans died. Yeah, the Cuban government announced it. Now, listen, my point is, there is still some suspicion that there was... I mean, there's obviously inside people, right? There's obviously people that were like giving the CIA... immediate coordinates and like, you know, whatever the fuck Maduro was doing every single day. But beyond that, the reason why I say that there must have been like some insiders is because we're talking about a country with S-300s, right? Let's say they figured out where the S-300s all were. It should be classified, but let's say they somehow have a leak low level enough. Okay. But then there's like 5,000 man pads. How the fuck does nobody go, oh my God, there's helicopters, the lights are out. Let me bust out my personal anti-air weapon. Not a single heli was shot down. And then even besides that, how the fuck were small arms fire not even like targeting the helicopters? They did use manpads, they did. So what happened? How did like you got manpads, you got RPGs, you have drones, you have small arms fire. You're saying they were shot down? You're saying that helicopters actually exploded in the process of this military campaign and we didn't see it? You guys are on fucking copium in the same way that people were saying Iran shot down an F-35 jet, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? Come on, dude. Jesus Christ. If they actually fucking shot down a heli, you think the Venezuelan government wouldn't show that? Yeah, remember the fucking F-35 that people were claiming that Iran shot down? They shot down the biggest F-35 known to man. It's ridiculous. Like, come on, be a little bit, you know, be a little bit smarter about this stuff, please. So yeah, I don't know who's the insider here.
And if she doesn't comply, her fate will be worse than Maduro's.
I just say that she will face a situation probably worse than Maduro, because, you know, Maduro gave up immediately.
Overnight, Rodriguez striking a conciliatory tone, saying in a statement, "We invite the U.S. government to collaborate with us on an agenda of cooperation," adding, "President Trump, our peoples, and our region deserve peace and dialogue, not war." This all started late Friday, the president giving the green light, telling U.S. forces and intel agencies good luck and Godspeed. The operation known as Absolute Resolve came after months of planning, U.S. intelligence studying every aspect of Maduro's life, from how he lived to what he wore and ate, even down to what pets he had.
We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get it wrong.
The president watching with his national security team from Mar-a-Lago as the mission unfolded. More than 150 military aircraft launching from 20 different bases and ships across the region. Helicopters flying under the cover of darkness, arriving at Caracas around 2 a.m. local time amid heavy gunfire. U.S. forces capturing Maduro and his wife, taking them to the USS Iwo Jima. President Trump posting this picture of Maduro on board. Maduro now on American soil, touching down in New York surrounded by federal agents. ABC News obtaining these images of the ousted leader as he landed in New York, handcuffed, dressed in a blue sweatshirt and sandals. In a video shared by the administration, the once defiant leader led down a hallway by DEA agents, wishing everyone Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
U.S. members of Congress caught off guard, notified after the operation began, some questioning its legality.
Maduro's a horrible, horrible person. But you don't treat lawlessness with other lawlessness, and that's what's happened here.
President Trump, who campaigns on keeping America out of foreign conflict, facing criticism from a member of his own party. Thomas Massey writing, "Wake up, MAGA, Venezuela is not about drugs, it's about oil and regime change. This is not what we voted for." And Robin, the president did not rule out putting American troops on the ground in Venezuela, telling reporters on Air Force One it depends on what happens with the Venezuelan government. But again, that would be a sharp departure from what the president campaigned on, keeping America out of foreign conflict. And there's big questions on just how the United States plans to take charge of Venezuela, Robin.
That is true. All right, Rachel, thank you for your reporting.
Thank you now to...
Okay, but have you considered that it's based now? Have you considered that it's based now, though? Would you support the U.S. taking control of Venezuela and choosing a new government of the country? 45% oppose it, 24% support it, 30% unsure. I've decided it's based now because Donald Trump did it, and anything that he does, I think, is based. Yeah, this is, once again, my take as well, especially astonishing when you consider the plainly pro-interventionist slant of coverage in this country. There may not be any national figures bold or ideologically motivated enough to realize this, but it is not 2002 anymore. Yeah. The fact that 39% approve and 46% disapprove, even now, which those numbers will continue to increase, I think, as the media is really pumping it. Okay? But I think this, to me, is a testament to two things. One, the Trump administration really fucking did a bad job of doing enough propaganda ahead of time. Okay? But also, we are too close to the war on terror for shit like this to stick without any pushback. Okay? And the age range actually showcases this as well. Even Nick Fuentes.
Caracas, these are pictures inside the National Assembly there, where a new president has been sworn in, Delcy Rodriguez. Of course, she was the vice president up until a couple of days ago. Well, she is now Venezuela's new leader. It must be said with somewhat of the tacit consent of the United States. We heard Donald Trump talk about Rodriguez over the weekend, that effectively kind of accepting that she would become the transitional leader, if you like, from at least the United States point of view. We've also heard kind of different statements, if you like, from Delcy Rodriguez in recent days. Some of them attacking the United States action, wanting to see Nicolas Maduro return back to Caracas. A little bit of a change of tone, though, in the last 12 to 24 hours or so. Seemingly more of a willingness to work with the United States. But those are the latest pictures now, where Delcy Rodriguez has been sworn in now as Venezuela's new leader in front of members of that National Assembly and clearly members of the military too.
Not a penny, not a dollar! Not a penny, not a dollar! We won't pay for war and slaughter! We won't pay for war and slaughter!
Not only in violation of international law, but also in violation of U.S. law. The president does not have the right to take unilateral military action against another country and detain its president, because it wants to. To take military action against another country, you need approval from Congress, and we did not see that happen. So
I love when people say not a single Venezuelan in sight. It's still the same guy, by the way. I don't know if you noticed this, but American taxpayers have every fucking right to say, not on our dime, okay? Suck my dick, bitch. You're not even Venezuelan either. So what the fuck are you talking about? You're not Venezuelan. Shut the fuck up. And even if you were Venezuelan, I say the same damn thing. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was supposed to spend my fucking tax dollars on taking out whoever you don't like in whichever goddamn country. Suck my dick. That's it. That's it. If you notice, they're saying, hey, no U.S. war, no blood for oil. Stop bombing Venezuela. Shut your bitch ass up. Okay? The Americans are talking. You understand? Shut your bitch ass up. This conversation has nothing to do with you. You're not even fucking Venezuelan. Law, someone is mad. Don't make me come over to whatever fucking country you're at and do regime change there too, you fucking cuck. Take a day off.
we're out here to say this is illegal, that we're against what the Trump administration is trying to do, and that we don't want another war.
War protests wrapped up not long ago. They actually ended up marching down 43rd Street, but tensions from the Venezuela strikes still remains high.
Hands off Venezuela! Hands off Venezuela!
Hundreds hit Times Square Saturday for an emergency rally yelling, "Hands off Venezuela," for the No War on Venezuela, Stop the Bombing protest. It's a protest over the U.S. strikes that nabbed President Nicolas Maduro and his wife.
And so I think it's really important for us to come out here and strongly show that we oppose this war, that we oppose the American imperialist drive toward war.
Explosions rocked Caracas, and now demonstrators wave signs calling the whole thing illegal.
We have heard from our friends in Venezuela that there are countless dead from this bombing campaign. It's not about drugs. It's not about democracy. It's not about the last election. It's because the Venezuelan Bolivarian Socialist Project did indeed challenge U.S. domination.
They're pushing to stop any more U.S. moves and let Maduro go. When Trump announced the U.S. will temporarily run Venezuela, it sparked fiery reactions like this one in Times Square, where voices rage against.
Also, it's so funny to play this like, oh, well, what about, listening to these people or whatever? If you remember at the time, people would yell at me and they'd be like, well, all Jews are Zionists or 90% of Jews are Zionists. Why won't you listen to the Zionist Jews about their position on Israel? I was like, I don't give a fuck what percentage of Jewish people are Zionists. The fuck? You think that changes my calculation at all? Get the fuck out of here. Suck my dick. I'm anti-fucking genocide. I don't care. I don't care. Like, oh, listen to the pro-intervention Palestinians like fucking Ahmed Fouad al-Khatib, who works for the Atlantic Council. Listen to Palestinian Voices. And then the Palestinian Voices is like the son of Hamas guy. Yeah, I don't give a shit, brother. Okay? I don't care. Look at me, not giving a fuck about your standpoint.
The strikes and demonstrators vow to keep fighting for their cause.
And different reactions continue to pour in across the state.
Within 15 hours of the deadly U.S. military strikes in Venezuela,
U.S. hands on foreign soil!
Protesters hit the streets in downtown Denver, calling for accountability here at home.
My main worry is that we're going to be sucked into another prolonged 20-year war with no real end in sight.
We saw it in Iraq in 2003 with a takeover of a country that was no threat to us in the name of a resource, namely oil.
I want to show you all the people protesting here in the middle of the street on West Colfax Avenue. This group started out outside the Capitol. Now they're kind of moving down the street. You can see some of their signs say no war on Venezuela.
Many of these people protesting say the U.S. capture of Nicolas Maduro will lead to escalation in the region.
And while Maduro really is not a good guy, he's a terrible dictator, I don't think that Trump is going to help their people. I don't think that's his intent here.
And reactions from Venezuelans are mixed. Some celebrating in the streets in places like Miami.
I can't tell you how happy I am. There's tears in my eyes. We've been waiting for this moment since.
Oh, dude. Oh, shit. This guy's fucking got tears in his eyes. Oh, man. Well, I feel totally great about ExxonMobil's profits next quarter. I mean, it's not going to even take next quarter. It's going to take a much longer time than that. But, well, I guess I'm good then. There's nothing more to see here.
Since 1998.
While others, like Omelis Marchan, a Venezuelan living in Denver, say celebrating this moment is ignorant. She came to the U.S. with her family in 2023 to escape crime in Venezuela.
¿Qué vamos a celebrar?
They're celebrating what exactly? The fall of people in Venezuela, the deaths that have happened.
Her father, uncles, and her husband live in Caracas. She says her family is living in a state of fear, not sure what will happen tomorrow, and not sure what President Trump is planning for Venezuelans.
There's a lot of people who are saying, yes, we need someone to intervene, but they don't know what an intervention is. They don't know what they're seeing in the poverty right now in Venezuela is only going to lead to more poverty after this and more need in the country.
No more sanctions, no more bombs!
In Denver, I'm Maggie Bryan, Denver 7.
These are the armed gangsters that chatter was talking about earlier. The one that we banned. Do you remember when I said, Shermer, who's the kind of person who's anti-genocide but is shy to mention it, necessarily given the facts on the ground? Wait, what? That dude was literally saying these are gangsters.
We don't want them to impose a Yankee government on us. We are free and sovereign. We are a people with guarantees in the Bolivarian Constitution. We are a free people, free and sovereign. Donald Trump is not going to take our oil. Rubio is not going to govern us. We have a president and a vice president who will assume for now, but our president is Nicolas Maduro.
Here is the great motorized force of Caracas. We took to the streets of Caracas to tell the world to raise their voice about the kidnapping of our president. And we won him back, damn it. Long live the homeland, and long live Maduro.